Welcome back to EDFF. I'm your host, Ding, and this is the Monday Night Football Recap. We'll look at tonight's games and evaluate how my under-overs did for the week. And if you appreciate these podcasts, text a friend, spread the word. Now, here's a quick injury update before we begin. CMC came back from Germany. He's not looking good. I suggest you trade him now before you can't get anything for him. Maybe try to get another running back, another wide receiver 2 or something, but at best, he's going to come back like maybe week 11, week 12. By then, you're probably out of it because he was your first round pick. Try to get something for him now. Maybe there's somebody out there who thinks he's going to come back early. I don't think he's going to. Just trust me on this one. Laporta, his ankle sprain was a fake. He played the entire game tonight. He looked good. Teams do this. It's not cool. I don't like it. And that's going to affect my under-overs for the week. But he played tonight. And then Will Levis picked up a shoulder injury early in the game, cried about it on the bench. We all had a laugh. There's about 1,000 memes about it out there. Mason Rudolph came in. That was even funnier because he was terrible. Bring back Levis. I didn't think it could get worse, but I was wrong. Okay, let's talk about the Monday Night Football recap. We had 2 games tonight. I don't like 2 games on Monday Night Football. Put a comment in the comments section if you do. I ran a poll earlier today, and it was 70% nobody liked it, and about 30% let's put it on Friday. I agree. 2 on Monday Night Football is terrible, but be that as it may, we had 2 games. The first game, Miami, Tennessee. Seriously, the NFL should be paying us to watch these games. Mason Rudolph, 85 yards passing, 0 touchdowns. Wow. Pollard was the star of the night, 88 rushing yards and a touchdown, plus 2 catches for 20. Then there was Spears, who had 15 rushes for 39 and a touchdown. Totally vultured it from Pollard, who got them all the way down on the 5 with this beautiful run. And then there you go. Spears gets it. But Spears looked good. He had a lot of opportunities tonight, but he didn't have a high average. So I think this was because they had a bad quarterback coming in, didn't know the playbook, so they just ran the ball well. Miami let them do that, and then they won the game off of it. From a wide receiver perspective, I'm not even going to list them because they only had 2 catches each. It was awful. There were 12 total completions in the game. Now, from the defense, Tennessee looked pretty good. They got some pressure, but they only had 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. But the big key was they stuffed the run. On the flip side, Huntley, 96 yards, 0 touchdowns. He did have 40 yards rushing and a touchdown, but he lost a fumble. A-Chain, wow, what a bad night. Tough defense. They got behind early. Game script was against him. But when he did get the touches, he only had 10 rushes for 15 yards. He caught 3 for 14. Wright came in because Mostert was out, got 9 touches for 32 yards rushing. Not bad. His average was better than A-Chain, that's for sure. Tyreek Hill, we really have to have a conversation of whether or not we even should be playing him and starting him every week. He went 3 rushes for 19 on the ground and 4 for 23 in the air. Huntley, or whatever other quarterback you throw at him, Hill has immense talent, but for some reason they cannot get him the ball. It's possible we say he's unstartable at this point until Tua comes back. Waddle caught 4 for 36. Not good as well. All right, let's talk about the real game. Detroit versus Seattle. Now, I told you this was going to be a shootout just like it was last year. It didn't disappoint. Detroit put up 42 points. Goff had a huge night, broke an NFL record, went 18 for 18 for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he caught a touchdown from St. Brown. Perfect rating, perfect night. Wow, just can't say enough about Goff tonight. St. Brown went 6 for 45 and a touchdown, and he also threw a touchdown on 1 attempt, so he had a huge night. Laporta, faking the ankle injury, caught 4 for 53. Jameson Williams, 2 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. The 70-yard bomb saved his night. He's a great player, but right now they were just spreading the ball around, and luckily he got a touchdown. Brock Wright, I told you to pick him up if Laporta was hurt. If you did, thinking that Laporta might not play, he only caught 2 for 13, but this whole Laporta ruse killed his night. But he did play a lot tonight. Now, the rushing attack was what this game was all about. Gibbs, 14 carries, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but he didn't have a catch, which is really weird for the guy who catches all the balls. Montgomery, power running, 12 for 40 and a touchdown, but the real highlight reel was his 40-yard catch where he absolutely blew up a defender, then ran across the field a couple of different times, grabbed 40 yards, outrunning half the team. It was amazing. The defense for Detroit caused some havoc. They did get a key interception that saved the game, and they got Metcalf on a fumble, which was also nice. For Seattle, Geno Smith had a huge night, 395 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, plus 38 on the ground. The big key tonight for them, though, was Walker. He was the hero with 12 rushes, 80 yards, and 3 touchdowns. A lot of impressive big runs, plus 4 catches for 36. But the weird thing was, with 2:06 left to play, first and goal, they didn't give him the ball. They threw the ball 4 times and ended up getting intercepted. They actually turned over the ball on downs. If they'd just given him the ball, he would have had his 4th touchdown. I'm guessing all the Walker owners out there were pretty pissed about that. Charbonnet, he didn't get a whole lot of opportunities tonight, but he did catch 5 for 39. Metcalf led everyone with 12 targets, 7 catches for 104, no touchdowns, and the costly fumble. Lockett was 5 for 61. Smith and Jigma had a nice night at 8 for 51. That recaps Monday Night Football. One bad game, one good game. Let's talk about the underappreciated and overhyped for the week. In the underappreciated category at the quarterback position, I went 3 for 3 tonight. Burrow, Dalton, and C.J. Stroud were my 3. They all had really nice weeks, putting up about 25 points apiece. I used to think that a great week for a quarterback was 30, 35 points in a week. Well, we all have to dumb ourselves down, if you will, because we've got guys like Huntley putting up 96 and Rudolph putting up 86 and Levis putting up 75. There's just the haves and the have-nots. And from the quarterback perspective, if you're putting up, mid 200s with 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, or no interceptions, and some rushing on the ground, and you lead your team to a victory, that's a strong week. And all 3 of those quarterbacks hit it. At the running back position, I only went 2 of 3 for this week. ETN was the bummer for me. He had a really terrible day. Jacksonville ended up throwing the ball more, and unfortunately, they didn't rely on him like they should have, in my opinion. Robinson from Washington had a killer week, and then, of course, Kyron Williams with another huge week and a touchdown. The wide receiver, I went 2 for 2, but I didn't count Adams because he didn't play. So Jennings had 3 catches for 88 yards, and then Collins with the huge week, 12 catches, 151 yards, and a touchdown. Just a monster week. So not going to count Adams, but we went 2 for 2 in wide receiver. At tight end, this was the rough one. I only got 1 of 3. Goddard had a huge week with 7 for 62. But Brock Wright, I'm going to count that against me, even though Detroit lied about the ankle injury, in my opinion, with Laporta. But I'm counting it against me. And then Pitts literally should have stayed home. 0 catches for 0 yards. Absolutely pathetic. Okay, moving on to the overhyped. At quarterback, I went 1 for 2. And the reason it's not 2 for 3 is because Malik Willis didn't even play. So Richardson was in the plus column, but he got injured. That's why he didn't, and he was overhyped. And then Lamar Jackson, wow, had the biggest night against Buffalo in his career with 3 touchdowns. Huge game. I missed that one, so I only went 1 for 2. In the overhyped category for running back, I went 1 for 3 in this case. Swift came out of nowhere. Last week, he's on the side of a milk carton in the Where Are They Now file. This week, 16 of 93 and a touchdown with 7 catches for 72. Huge game. I think you need to trade Swift right now. Sell while it's high. Try to get yourself a better running back or a better wide receiver. I'm telling you, this is an outlier for Swift. Second running back I had was Aaron Jones. He didn't have any touchdowns, and I thought that was the case. I told you to lower your expectations, so I'm partly right here, but he got the rock 26 times, 22 for 93 on the ground and 4 for 46 in the air. A really nice game, but he didn't get any touchdowns. And then the last one that I got right, Zamir White, 17 rushes for 50 yards and a fumble 6. Absolutely horrible. Madison looks much better. I'm telling you, they're going to bench him. It's an even timeshare or Madison's going to take over. If you can get somebody for Zamir White by trading him, I would do that right now. At the wide receiver position, overhyped, I went 1 for 3. I've got Worthy, who had a really nice night, but only because, honestly, Rashid Rice got hurt. But he still had a nice night. Remember, though, Worthy only got 4 targets. He caught 3 for 73 and a touchdown, but he only got 4 targets even with Rice out. That's kind of scary if you're a Worthy owner, and I have him in a couple of teams, so just keep that in mind. Quentin Johnston, finally crash and burn. 1 catch for 9 yards. Got that one right. And then Jaden Reed, love this kid. Best wide receiver on Green Bay. Didn't know that Love was going to play until after this podcast. If so, I would never have put him on here. I'm taking the loss on that. But There's no way Jaden Reed ever is in the overhyped position unless Malik Willis is a quarterback. Last category, tight end. 2 for 2 on this one. Zach Ertz only had 3 catches for 22. Andrews, bro didn't catch a thing. They used him as a blocker. Andrews, honestly, I think this is another opportunity to trade him. Use his name recognition. Try to get as much as you can. Andrews is definitely having a bust of a season. Okay, this week was a much better under-over week. We'll look at waivers in our next episode tomorrow once we get the Tuesday injury report, and that'll be a big one. Trey Sermon and Dontavian Wicks will be discussed tomorrow, and I'm going to surprise you on one of them. Take a good look at your team this week. See if you can make any good sell while they're high trades. We talked about Swift. I wouldn't say sell while you're high on Zamir White, just sell, sell, sell. Do what you can. Trade to make those bye weeks a little bit easier on yourself. Remember, there's 4 teams on the bye, but more on that tomorrow. As always, before we sign off, I want to give a shout out to our men and women in uniform who protect the freedoms we hold dear. Thank you for your service and sacrifice. Finally, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us on X, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you can stay up to date on our latest content. Until then, remember, established dominance isn't just a catchphrase. It's a commitment. Are you ready?